A tricky little end there. FM 101.9 and Amy Mann. I'm Miralee Kelly. In the Music Hall with me is Graham Parker. Welcome, Graham.
Hi.
You're just grooving right along with that Amy Mann song.
Yeah, there's a lot of duck quacking sounds at the end of that. Yeah, unnecessary duck noises. Nice song, though.
Yeah. If the name Graham Parker is ringing a bell, let me ring it a little louder for you. Singer, songwriter, musician, novelist, record producer. Graham Parker and the Rumor got kind of swept up in the mid to late 70s new wave movement, though his music, I think then, and maybe now, Graham, you can help me with this, was really more soul or R&B based rock and roll.
Well, I thought it was really cool to do things like You Can't Hurry Love and, Don Covay songs in 1975, 1976 when I started, because that was totally, against what people thought rock and roll was. They thought it was like long hair and, long solos and this kind of, progressive stuff, which wasn't progressive anymore. So, but the attitude that we played with was pretty, it was intense. I mean, it was as intense as anything punk,
Yeah, maybe it was more the attitude than the music.
Yeah, I mean, we have my writing has a sort of grounding in, soul, R&B, folk, pop. It's all pop music to me, basically, 3.5-minute songs,
Well, overall, in Graham Parker's career, he's made about, a dozen or so albums, including the critically acclaimed Squeezing Out Sparks. In '93, Rhino Records put together a 2-CD set anthology. Graham also showed up on some tribute albums. You just basically nailed it. From Richard Thompson folk to you're on the Arthur Alexander tribute. There's your R&B. And a couple original holiday songs came out with your Christmas EP. I'm exhausted. And just out, 12 Haunted Episodes, your minor label debut.
That's right.
I think we'll talk about that in a little bit, how you've been on probably every record label that's ever existed. But I would love to hear you launch into a song for the new album first.
All right, I'll have a go at this one.
Okay, Graham Parker with us.
She's got everything she needs, and it isn't you. A cosmetic arsenal, a bucket of glue, signs on her bag that say keep on the grass, powerful liquor in a hip flask, coins from the Commonwealth, doubloons from the sea, a knife in her boot heel, a bonsai tree, ice cream in her pocket, diamonds from her fans. It all works like clockwork, it all makes sense to her. Force out of nature, force out of nature, yeah. Force out of nature, that's what she is. With a clouded leopard on a leash in the shed, a vicious black rodent she calls Fred. She keeps her diary under the bed, but there's nothing in it, 'cause it's all in her head. Walking around London with foreign banknotes, throwing silver nunchucks at cab drivers' throats. Being invisible, being obscene, being the person you wish you'd been, like a force out of nature, force out of nature, yeah. Force out of nature, that must be it. But inside her heart, there's this kid locked away in a room, who throws a grenade at your feet that explodes with such force it bursts your balloon, like a force of nature, yeah, force of nature. That's what she is. But inside her heart, there's this kid locked away in a room, who peeks through the door every now and again and says, hey, I'm coming out soon. Her raincoat jingles, your mercury soars, every last move defies gravity's laws. Her computer's connected directly to the stars, keeps her emotions in mason jars, stored in the attic, in the roof near the bats fly, being impossible, being on a roll, being like something you can't control, like a force out of nature, yeah, force out of nature, force out of nature, that's it, like a force of nature, like a force of nature.
I'm being mobbed.
Graham Parker is with us in the music hall. You know, before you came here, I played a song by Dylan, She Belongs to Me. And
Yeah, I heard it, and I thought, oh, she's going to pick up on that.
yeah, the first line of your song is the same as his. She's got everything she needs, and then you change it.
And then I say, but it isn't you.
Yeah.
Yeah. He says something else. He kind of chickened out, actually.
Uh-huh.
He should have said, but it isn't you.
Did you nick that from him, or
Oh,
was
yeah.
it?
Yeah, I was quite conscious, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it sprung to mind, and I thought, oh, that's a Dylan line. Okay, well, I'll subvert it for my own uses, definitely.
Oh, that's good. We were talking about how you kind of got lumped in with the punk rockers and how it was maybe more of an attitude thing than music. You had a reputation as being an angry guy. You know, you wrote Mercury Poisoning very blatantly about one of your former record labels.
Mm-hmm.
Are you an angry guy, and is that why you couldn't stay on a record label for more than a couple songs?
No, you don't stay on record labels for long because you don't sell records. That's the only reason. There's one rule with record companies: if you're selling bucket loads of records, everything's pretty good. If you're not, everything's crap. You know what I mean? Basically, that's the scenario. But yeah, I was with Arista for like 4 records, I think. I mean, that's pretty good going these days. You know, they don't give you a lot of time to bring the bacon in. You know, Mercury were just inept and incompetent, and you know that's the truth. I mean, when I came over to America first, the people who met me from the record company were, you know, 3 times my age anyway. They were, you know, in their 50s and 60s and stuff. Well, they were twice as old anyway. And they had really no understanding that anything new could possibly happen in music. You know, we were a complete mystery to them. Everything was already set up. They were selling their Rod Stewarts, thank you. We're quite comfortable barbecuing in the afternoon. We don't want to deal with this. So that was, you know, the end result of that was my manager said to me, write a whole song of Mercury hate songs, can you? And being the good artist, I did, but actually I wrote one and said, I think this pretty much sums it up, you know.
Yeah. Well, you know, I think you're a little bit ahead of the curve here because there is a whole new punk thing happening, which is opening up. Everybody's minds are opening up and saying maybe there's room for the kind of music you're doing now, more the adult appeal. That's why a radio station like us exists, and there's stations like this all over the country.
Adult appeal, did you say?
Yes, adult.
Oh, dull, sorry.
Not D-O-L-T.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, see, Graham's got these really big headphones on, and he's just missing a few words here. You're playing a live solo acoustic for us right here, right now. How are you going to be playing at the House of Blues tonight?
I've got a band, great drummer who played on the record, Denny McDermott, drums and percussion, so we can really do the new stuff and do it justice. And Kenny Aronson on the bass and Mitch Margold on keyboards, and absolutely the best band I've had since The Rumour. Not to say it's anything like The Rumour, of course, but it's we can do the old stuff and really rock and really reinterpret some of the old stuff and give that spacious feel to the 12 Haunted Episodes material as well. And they're just the greatest, and we're really hitting our stride right now as the tour finishes practically.
Well, it's nice to see you rocking again. And how about a more intimate version of something from the new album, 12 Haunted Episodes?
Absolutely, it's a title track.
I wonder what you are thinking under the rooftops there, pulling tangles from your hair. I wonder if the water you're drinking comes from a purer stream, the one where sunlight gleams. Things around here don't get any clearer. Stuff that once seemed in reaches, not any nearer. I wonder if that house is still standing, or did they knock it flat? That's progress, that's that. I wonder who was more demanding. We were just young, I guess. Neither would settle for less. Still, it's not a whole life story, is it? It's just a page I turned and there you were in it. I wonder how you are faring. Not sliding down a slope, taking the knocks, I hope. I wonder where your eyes are staring. Not into some emptiness, into someone's, I guess. But that still won't make things any clearer. People seem to drift apart instead of getting nearer. I wonder what you are doing under the evening sky, watching your life go by. I wonder if that place is in ruins and all the doors are closed. That's just the way it goes. I wonder what there is worth keeping from haunted episodes that briefly woke us from sleeping.
Graham Parker in the FM 101.9 Music Hall, the live solo acoustic version of the title track to 12 Haunted Episodes. Nice new album. I guess the critics are embracing it and you again.
Yeah, mostly. I think I usually do pretty well with critics. I sort of get stacks of reviews sent in from record companies, and they're usually 90% decent, and it's a really different record. Some people might find it a little hard to stomach, because it's very, it's totally uncompromising. There's no sort of rockers thrown in for good measure. I mean, it rocks, but it's in a totally different way.
Have you ever felt pressure either put upon by yourself or by producers or whatever to live up to Squeezing Out Sparks?
No, it's I mean, I when I start writing, any time I go into a writing mode, as it were, it takes generally a few months before something decent starts coming out. Most of it's dross, and then you get down to the vein of subconscious, and I've managed to get down to that vein every single time I've made a record. So, and I know that when I do it. If I didn't get to that, it would be really average, and I wouldn't release it. That would be the end of the game, probably. Actually, I probably would release it. I mean, anything for $1, but I try to get, the best of what's available within me at any given time, so I don't have to live up to anything, really,
Mm-hmm. When you were writing Squeezing Out Sparks, the album, that was just such a special album. Did you know it and feel it when you were writing the songs? Like, wow, I've really hit it?
No, I thought a lot of it was really ham-fisted. A lot of it, passion is no ordinary word. All those chords, I thought the band they're going to hate this. They're not going to be able to do it. It won't work. While we were recording Discovering Japan, in fact, which I know is, the lyrics are, well, I don't know what the lyrics are, where they came from. I mean, they're just something else. And the band was sort of, I remember Martin Belmont, one of the guitarists was sort of going, like this as we were trying to record it. Like, I could see his grumpiness. He was thinking, this song isn't very good. We'll try and record it. Okay, let's get it out the way. I mean, that's what he said to me afterwards. Let's get it down, get it out of the way, and he'll realize it's no good. I mean, that's what they thought. They generally thought that because they're cynical English bastards, but...
Well, I know that Dave Edmunds liked one of your songs enough to steal it from you. And it's interesting that Rhino Records, who put out your anthology, kind of gave the same treatment to Dave Edmunds. I think between the both of you, there's a lot of A lot of parallels in your careers.
Well, I don't. I find with musicians, it's like real musicians. Whoever I work with, whatever differences there are. When we sort of get on a tour bus at 3 a.m., we generally want to hear something from 1960 or something, like ska music or Otis Redding. You're not going to put on Pearl Jam and go, wow, this is great. It just isn't, Prince Buster and the All-Stars is great. Tamla Motown is great, And all the musicians, people like Dave Edmunds or whatever, it's a sensibility of rock and roll. It's like, Aerosmith are a rock band and the Rolling Stones are a rock and roll band. You either know that or you don't, So those similarities are just deeply ingrained in people with attitude, Cynical English bastards, basically. Where are we?
Yeah. The cynical Graham Parker is with us to
I'm not cynical.
To sing a song that you wrote, and I don't think you've ever had this out on any sort of recorded form?
No, I wrote it at the time of Squeezing Out Sparks, and it just didn't fit in because it was too R&B, it was just too light, really. So I gave it to Dave Edmunds. In fact, Martin Belmont suggested sending it to Dave Edmunds, good old Martin. And
the song we're talking about is Crawling from the Wreckage, by the way. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to have a go at it?
That'd be fabulous.
Okay.
Got out really early from the factory, driving like a nut in the rain. I don't think I was acting so hysterically, but I didn't see a thing until it came. Met the dumb suburbos in the takeaway, beating up the Chinese at the counter. I put a few inside me at the end of the day. I took out my revenge on the revolution counter, crawling from the wreckage, crawling from the wreckage. You think by now at least I have my brain will get the message. Crawling from the wreckage, crawling from the wreckage, and into a brand new car. In walks Spud with his exploding nose. He'd been giving it maximum today. He shouted, how the devil you in trouble, I suppose, but all you ever do is run away. Gunned up the motor into hyperdrive. I didn't want to take any of that. Don't get bright ideas about suicide, 'cause all I ever hear is zoom, bang, 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 splat. Crawling from the wreckage, crawling from the wreckage. Bits of me are scattered in the trees and on the hedges. Crawling from the wreckage, crawling from the wreckage, and into a brand new car. Well, well, well. Nothing seems to happen that ain't happened before. I see it all through flashes of depression. Drop my drink and hit some people running for the door. I gotta make some kind of impression, 'cause when I'm disconnected from the driving wheel, I'm only half the man that I should be. Metal hitting metal is all I feel, and everything's as good as it possibly could be. Crawling from the wreckage, crawling from the wreckage. You think by now at least I have my brain will get the message. Crawling from the wreckage, crawling from the wreckage, and into a brand new car. Well, well, well. Crawling from the wreckage, 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 crawling from the wreckage.
I don't know how to end it. Something like that. Okay.
Yeah, Graham Parker in the Music Hall. Graham, you've Layla'd it.
Yeah, I guess I have. Good Lord, how dreadful. Excuse me. I'm sorry, but I just don't want to play anything that fast. And I've adjusted it to open tuning. Can we say I've Fats dominoed it, please?
Okay, that's what we did.
Yeah.
We Fats dominoed it.
Thank you.
But, I guess that's what you're saying now that you've got this different band. You can do that. You can rearrange the old stuff and sort of pump some new life into it.
Yeah, they're a flexible band that can really take that kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, great. So that's the band we're going to see tonight, the band that's not here, but the band we're talking about with Graham Parker at the House of Blues. The new album is out on Razor and Tie Records, called 12 Haunted Episodes. And we just spent 20 or so wonderful moments with you. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Thanks very much for having me.